Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. Hope you're having a great day. So, I just finished watching an interview of CZ. He's the CEO of Binance on CNBC. Becky Quick, Joe, I forgot his name, and Andrew Ross Sarkin, right? And he's being hammered with questions. Hammered with questions. One of the questions was, you know, does Coinbase have an auditor, a big four auditor? I'm like, why are you asking the CEO of a competitor if, they have something? That makes no sense. That was number one. Number two, I have a hard time understanding why people don't understand how crypto exchanges make their money. It should be fairly obvious. They charge fees. They charge fees. Okay? So when you think about how long Binance has been around, right? And you think about how much money they can make in fees, it's only recently that they started giving you, free transactions with Bitcoin, right? Now they're giving you free transactions with Ethereum. But all other transactions, they make money from. And again, this is just recent. So if you said that, Binance, collects X amount of money per transaction, call it an average of $1. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I'm just going to go with $1. They have, on average, not even on average, they do more than 3 million transactions a day. Let that wash over you. He said, Becky Quick asked him, well, you just paid $500 million to be involved with Twitter. And I sat there and I was like, yeah, he did. He can make that money 7 days a week. Or Binance can make that money 7 days a week. Even if you said they only made two, let's be even better. There's actually a chart that will tell you, if you go to ycharts.com, they can actually tell you these are the number of transactions that Binance has had on a daily basis. But let's just go to, they only have 1 million transactions a day at $1 each. That $500 million that they paid out would literally be 500 days in business, right? But we know they make money in other ways. But that's how they make their money. Or that's a significant way of how they make their money. But in truth, I'm pretty sure they make more than $1 per transaction, depending on the size of the transaction, right? But they do like 3 million plus transactions usually on a daily basis. Go check out the charts. I'm not playing with you. Go check out the charts. It's called the Binance Smart Chain Transactions Per Day, and you can find it on ycharts.com. That's Y, just a letter Y, charts.com. So then Becky Quick said, or Andrew Ross Sorkin said, well, it said that FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, paid you, $2.1 billion, give or take, to buy you out of FTX. That would mean that Binance, and it's known that Binance, invested in FTX. So to buy him out would mean, or to buy out Binance would mean, yes, we have to pay you back and we're going to buy back your stake. I'm trying to understand how any government would be able to, quote unquote, claw that back. It's a transaction. Binance made an investment. Sam Bankman-Fried said, we'd like to buy you out of your investment. They agreed on a number. Boom, done. They got paid back significantly in FTT coin and other coins as well. So that was an investment. I don't know that the SEC would be able to, quote unquote, claw that back. It wasn't like it was a one-way transaction. It was a two-way transaction. We invested in you years ago, and now you're buying us out. That's how that happens. I don't, and CZ was like, listen, I'm gonna let the attorneys figure that out. You could see in his face, you knew he wanted to say it. You knew he wanted to say that's a stupid question. That's a thoughtless question. And it's not that, Andrew Ross Sorkin probably asked that question. It's probably one of the producers, in the production booth that said, hey, ask him this. And he asked. That person didn't give it any thought as to how, an exchange works. Okay? You make a transaction, there's a transaction fee that goes to them. The same way that Coinbase does it, the same way that almost all other crypto exchanges do it. If you look at traditional exchanges, pretty much the same way, right? You do a transaction, you get paid either per transaction or per batch of transactions. That's how it works. Now, we all know that I am not a fan of centralized exchanges, but I'm not a fan of centralized exchanges just because I like to be in control of my money. That's the whole reason why I do not deal with, I'm not a fan of banks. Yes, of course I have bank accounts, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm not a fan of banks. So I'd rather put my money in places where I believe it's going to work for me, right? And get paid the most that I can get paid for the ability for somebody else to use my money to go make investments. It makes sense, right? If I leave my money in a bank, I'm not going to make that much money. You know how it is. Go to a bank, look at how much they're paying out. They don't pay out that much, right? So I put my money in places where I think it's going to do best for me. But the questions that he was hit with, and then I listened to Jim Cramer after that saying, "Oh, well, it was his interview wasn't inspiring." He literally gave a lesson on how crypto exchanges work and how they make their money. He's been around for years. Binance has been around for years. They're the world's #1 crypto exchange for a reason. And on top of that, what CZ said was, listen, we hold a 1-to-1 customers' digital assets, and our assets. He said, if there was a 100% run, we could pay it easily. Truth be told, I can actually believe it with Binance. I could actually believe it. And the reason why I could believe it is because they do so many damn transactions on a daily basis. Right? And that's just one revenue stream. They do investments. Something else that he said was, listen, we don't have any loans. Binance owes no one. That's what he said. And they said, well, how come you're not being audited by, one of the big firms? Well, that's because they don't know how crypto exchanges work and they're afraid of their reputation should they get it wrong. Yeah. They're comfortable with doing traditional finance. They know what that model is. But anybody who audits any kind of exchange should be able to audit a crypto exchange. It shouldn't be that much more difficult. Really shouldn't. And what are you auditing? Where are the digital assets that you say you have? Prove it. And how many digital assets are for customers? Compare the two numbers. I'm very much simplifying the process, but basically that's it. But they've been in business for that long that I can believe, yep, they have the money to do it. If you actually take a deposit, put it in cold storage, account for it, right? They're an exchange. But you're making money off of transactions, I can see that. Do your own research and look into it yourself. Okay? I have another video that'll come out later today with my normal, here's what's going on in the space and here's what could affect you. But this interview kind of got my ire up. All right? This is Eddie J on Crypto. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.